Jason's short story. I remember staring at the blank screen at 2 a.m., the cursor blinking, mocking me. Another night, another story unwritten, another dream dying. For years, I felt too tired, too busy, too creatively drained. I was paralyzed by the overwhelming gap between who I was and who I wanted to be. Every grand plan collapsed. Then one morning I decided, just 5 minutes. Not an hour, not a chapter. It's 5 minutes of quiet writing before anything else. It felt silly, but I did it. That tiny commitment grew. Those 5 minutes became 10, then 30. Slowly, the words returned. The book I thought I'd never write started to take shape. Page by page, I finally finished it. We're not meant to sprint a marathon from day one. We're meant to take one step. Today, choose one small step. Write one sentence, make one call, then 5 minutes learning something new. Full story, I remember the exact moment. It was 2 a.m. The screen glowed, the cursor blinked mockingly, and my chest felt tight with a familiar shame and exhaustion. Another day gone, another story unwritten, another dream slowly dying in the dark. /N/N, I grew up certain I'd be a writer. It was my core identity. But somewhere along the line, /life just took over. The demanding job, the endless errands, feeling constantly tied to work screens. I was good at my career, but every evening I came home completely drained. My notebook sat untouched. My laptop, once a creative tool, now only held spreadsheets and work emails. /tomorrow, I'll start, I'd promise. But tomorrow became next week, then next month. The silence of the blinking cursor grew louder than any words I could imagine writing. I'd scroll endlessly, watch shows, anything to numb the gnawing feeling of unfulfilled potential. I wasn't lazy, I was simply overwhelmed. The sheer scale of what I felt I needed to do, thousands of words, plot, characters, editing, felt like scaling a mountain with no gear. I truly believed I'd lost my spark. Who was I without that dream? Just going through the motions. This went on for years. The chasm between my aspirations and reality felt too wide to cross. My confidence withered. I stopped talking about writing entirely. It felt like a lie. I felt like a fraud living a life that wasn't truly mine. /N/N, the turning point wasn't a sudden epiphany or a dramatic event. It was much smaller, quieter. One particularly bleak Tuesday morning, staring at my reflection, I was just tired of being tired of the emptiness. I made a deal with myself. Not to write a chapter, not to outline a plot, not even a full page. Just 5 minutes. 5 minutes of uninterrupted, quiet writing. Before checking emails, before making coffee, before anything else. The smallness of it was its power. Was so tiny, so non-threatening, that my internal resistance barely registered. I set a timer, opened a blank document, and typed whatever came to mind for those 5 minutes. It was messy, disjointed. But when the timer chimed, I had done it. I had started. /N, the first few weeks were a battle. My mind would scream, this is pointless. But I stuck to those 5 minutes. Slowly, a shift began. Those 5 minutes, even with terrible writing, brought a small sense of accomplishment. That feeling was like a tiny seed. After a month, I naturally extended it to 10, then 15. The words were still often clumsy, ideas half-baked. Some days I stared at the screen, producing nothing. I failed often, sometimes missing a morning. But I never let one missed day become two. The next morning, I'd restart. I learned to forgive myself, realizing showing up was more important than perfection. My mind, once dulled, started to sharpen. I wasn't just writing, I was thinking about writing. I carried a small notebook, jotting down snippets. It wasn't always easy. Days filled with self-doubt, where words felt like pulling teeth still came. But the habit had taken root. It was no longer a question of if I would write, but when. I started attending a local writing group, sharing messy drafts, trembling, but feeling a connection. Their feedback, often critical but kind, helped me see my work from new angles. I pushed through plot holes, deadened character arcs, and entire sections needing rewriting. It was slow, painstaking, frustrating work, but small wins, a flowing paragraph, a real character moment kept me going. I embraced imperfection, understanding the journey was built on iteration, not instant brilliance. /N, the real breakthrough wasn't finishing the book, though that was incredible. The breakthrough was realizing that the act of showing up consistently transformed me. The book was just the physical manifestation. It was the shift from wanting to be a writer to being a writer, simply by doing the work day after day. When I finally typed /N on the manuscript, sitting at my kitchen table, the sun just rising, it wasn't a roar of triumph. It was a deep, quiet sense of peace. I had proven to myself I could build something substantial, not through sudden genius or immense willpower, but through persistent, daily effort. I had reclaimed my identity, not by chasing a grand vision, but by honoring a tiny commitment. The energy that had felt drained returned. My focus sharpened, not just in my writing, but in other areas of my life. I felt more present, more alive. /n/n, the principle here is simple, almost deceptively so: consistency over intensity. You don't need to conquer the entire mountain today, you just need to take one step. The biggest dreams aren't achieved with one heroic effort, but with thousands of tiny, almost unnoticeable ones. Don't wait for motivation to strike, create the habit, and motivation will follow. Start so small that you can't fail. It's not about the destination, it's about the daily journey and who you become on the way. When you commit to showing up, even for a few minutes, you're telling yourself and the universe that your dreams matter. You're building an unstoppable momentum, one tiny brick at a time. /n/n, maybe you have a project lingering, a skill you want to learn, or a personal change you desperately need. It feels too big, doesn't it? That overwhelming feeling is a lie your mind tells you to keep you safe in the familiar. But safety isn't where growth happens. You have more power than you realize. You don't need to transform your entire life in one go. You just need to choose one tiny, almost imperceptible action today. That first small step isn't just about the task itself. It's about shifting your identity, about proving to yourself day after day that you are capable of building the life you truly want. Don't let the grandness of your vision stop you from starting. Embrace the small, mundane, daily act. That's where true magic happens. Today, choose one small step. Open that document, pick up that book, walk for 5 minutes, spend 5 minutes planning a tiny part of your goal. Sessioned 1D2E3F4G5H6 I7J8K9 L0M1N2O3P4Q5R6 is